Going back and winning that first stage and doing well in the second stage was the deciding factor in my mind that this was for me. I've got some photos here of my sister and I with one of our dogs. When we were younger, his name was Bruno. We always had boxers and then randomly a poodle much later, but he was the first dog that I'd grown up with. He was a massive boxer as well. Just a loving dog, such a soft dog, and I think he's the reason why I love animals so much. Everybody knows me as a cat person, but if I could have dogs, I would have them all. So I think the day that I retire from golf, I'm gonna definitely get myself some animal friends, some dogs. Birdie for Sanos was started by Justin Walters and Dean Burmester, and it's just an unbelievable cause in South Africa. So every birdie that I make, I donate some money to the cause. If you don't know the crisis that we're having with rhinos in South Africa, they are extremely endangered, and it just goes towards protecting a very large area at the bottom of the Kruger National Park against poachers. It's quite sad to think when you're looking at them that I'm looking at this animal right now, but my children might never be able to see one. So it's a very humbling experience. My mom is very creative, so she used to make us a lot of costumes, and she still does today for any party that we have. So I have a really cool photo here. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to be a genie. It's incredible what my mom can do and her imagination. So that was a really big part of me growing up. If we had any kind of competition at school, we used to have this thing where it was Easter hat day, and I would win every year, hands down. I think that's probably why I have, a creative side at home, building things, drawing, that kind of thing. It's all because of my mom. So I've got a picture here of me and my squash team. Squash was probably my #1 sport for a long time until I found golf. I played for, back then it was called Easterns, now it's called Ekurhuleni. But yeah, such fun memories with these girls and playing squash, and I absolutely loved it. If it wasn't so contradictory to golf, I would probably still be really big into it, but I don't even think I own a squash racket anymore. I was first introduced to golf at 16. My mom came with me to the squash court, and it was on a golf course. And my mom decided that she wasn't going to sit and watch me anymore. It was too boring. She was going to go for some golf lessons, and then ended up dragging me with her, and I hated it. Did not want to know anything about golf. Went to go play bowls. There was a bowling green, so I went to go play bowls in between the lessons. I'm not quite sure what happened. Must have gone back and maybe hit one out of the sweet spot and thought, okay, actually this is pretty good. I've got actually a really nice one with another player on the early tee, Cassandra Alexander. And I was captain at this point, and I actually think myself and Cassandra were foursomes partners for it was called provincials, so I guess it's like county golf here in the UK. So I must have been 22, 23. Cassandra, I think there's maybe 8 years difference between us, so it's quite a big gap, so she was quite young. This is one of my best friends in the golfing world, at least, Lauren. I see I've always been into drawing lots of things on my golf ball. I see I've got a big smiling face here, but this was another provincial tournament, and at this stage I think we were playing against each other, so this is a really good memory. I have so many good memories with her. So I'm not superstitious, but I have stuck to the same thing for the last few years. I've got a lot of lines going on my ball, but there's a purpose to it. Back then it was just probably draw whatever you want and see who can come up with the best thing. My first amateur win, I was 22. So I've got a couple of photos here with the trophy, which is a really proud moment for me, I think. And then I ended up winning a few more times in that year before I went to Q school at 23. I actually played against another girl who at that point was probably the best golfer to come out of South Africa, but she decided that she didn't want to turn pro. Her name was Gina Swatala. Yeah, I didn't actually realize I'd won until the last hole, and she turned around and she was like, oh, I think you won. And I was like, oh, that's great. I think at that point, professional golf was still not really a career choice for me. I'd always wanted to do animation, and in my mind I was still going to study animation, and golf was kind of like a side thing. The more I started to compete and the more I started to win, I obviously did think about it, and I decided to go to Q school, but the thinking behind it was that I was going to go to Q school to see how far behind the girls I was. So I had to go back to Q school a couple times. So the second time I went, I did really well. I've got a really good memory. I won the first stage, so I've got a really nice picture of me next to the board, and I think that was more so the point where I realized that I could do this as a career. Even though I'd played a whole season, I'd probably missed every cut, and I wasn't quite sure if this was for me. University was a lot of fun. There was no option to go overseas, no scholarship option for me, and I'm really glad that it went the way it did. I ended up studying at the University of Pretoria. I was close to my family, but just far enough away that it felt like I was, having a proper university life, and I really enjoyed it. I made some good friends, played a lot of golf. I ended up studying sports science, which I really enjoyed. I think it helped in my career. So it was my team. My team was Kelly Whaley, Madeline Stavner, and Mia, and the girls were all on form, including Mia. So you don't have to, you know, try and carry anyone. Everybody's helping each other out. We were having so much fun on the course, high-fiving, and just in general, I like a good chat. So if I've got somebody who feeds off of that, or I can feed from that, it just really helps, you know, when things aren't going so well, to bring yourself out of it, maybe get a bit of momentum going. You get excited for the other players get excited for you, and I think that's what really helps the team environment, and I really enjoy it.